ladies and gentlemen. So I wanted to give you guys a bit of a life update at this point. I haven't really posted a whole lot of content here recently. And so the reason for that is because about a year ago, we found out that our dog has lung cancer, and it was fairly well developed by the time that we found out about it, and he was already about 15 years old, and so options were surgery or just kind of let it run its course. And the surgery, at 15 years old, his survival prospects just from the anesthesia and the surgery weren't all that great. And then if they were able to remove it, they'd probably have to basically remove one of his lungs and a portion of the other lung. And, you know, just didn't think it was worth, that's the wrong word. It's not that we didn't think it was worth doing the surgery. We would have done anything to protect him, but we didn't feel like the trade-off of the quality of life that he would have after the surgery and the possibility of him not making it through the surgery to start with, we didn't think that was what was best for him. What we really didn't want is for him to go through the surgery and then have a severely diminished quality of life, have a reduced immune system as a result of the surgery, his body's recovering from it, and then get sick from something else and pass away and never really have good quality of life again. And so we made the decision to not do a surgery, to try to address it and to just try to give him the best time that he had left. And so they told us that he probably had maybe 2-3 months left at that point. And so, like I said, that was about a year ago. This past Wednesday, his breathing just got worse and worse and more difficult, and his ability to do the things that he enjoyed, to play with his toys, to run around, to do all that stuff, just seems to have diminished to a point where he wasn't really enjoying anything anymore. He was just kind of existing, and so we made a really difficult decision to go ahead and say goodbye to him. And this past Wednesday was his last day, and so it's been really difficult for us, but his last day, he basically stopped eating. And if you knew anything about our dog, that was, once he stopped eating, that was it. Food was his life. He loved food more than anything. And so, he was a lab. And so I think, to be honest, we probably timed it perfectly, because we tried to give him as much life as we could before his time was out. And we took him to the mountains, we took him to go play in the waterfalls and go stand in the rivers. And so I don't honestly want to talk about it too terribly much, because it's still really, really upsetting. But anyway, long story short, when he got sick, because it compromised his immune system, we both agreed that we weren't really going to do any traveling or anything like that, because it would be difficult on him, and we didn't want to bore him, because we wanted to spend as much time with him as we possibly could. And so that meant that I really didn't do any track days last year, or this year. The only track event that I did this year at all was I went to the California Superbike School. I'd already had it scheduled and already had it planned before we found out about his cancer, and my wife stayed at home with him while I went to the school. But like I said, we basically just agreed that the right thing to do was to put our lives on hold in order to spend as much time with him and give him the best quality of life we could. And that's what we did. But unfortunately, I put my life on hold as long as I had to, whatever it meant, in order to keep him here longer. But unfortunately, he's gone. And so it's a nice Porsche. So it's going to take us a while to get through the morning phase. He was one of the best dogs I've ever known. He was just the sweetest dog. He loved everybody. And so, like I said, it's going to take us a little while to get through this morning phase. But eventually, I'm hoping this year, or this coming year anyway, to get back to doing some track days. So I'm also planning to do some more traveling, bike-related traveling. We're hoping to go to MotoGP this year again, and then we have a big trip planned with some friends of ours who are also super big motorcycle enthusiasts. So I'll tell you guys more about that later, but I'll just tell you that it's in Europe. But so hopefully I can do some more motorcycle content. I can do some more car content, that kind of stuff, mostly motorcycle content. I think that will always be my real passion, is getting out on two wheels. I'm gonna hope to try to make it back to do more track days, that sort of thing. I think some of my big goals this year, I'd like to try and actually get a race license so I can do some kind of club level racing and stuff. And then the other thing I'd like to do is I'd like to try some different types of riding. Like there's a friend of mine that does adventure riding, and so I'd like to try that. I'd like to do some dirt riding. I personally think that street bikes, sport bikes, track riding, I think those will always be my core interests. But I'm willing to try new things, and I want to. God, this dude always has the most insane stuff I've ever seen. I don't know what that guy does, but one day I'm just gonna stop by his house, knock on the door, and be like, "Hey neighbor, how's it going?" Anyway, where was I? Yeah, I'm gonna try to do some try to get on a dirt bike, give that a shot. I don't know, maybe even try to learn how to jump it. I don't know, we'll see. The friend of mine that we're supposed to go to Europe with, he has a Grom as well, and he's in the process of kind of modifying it to do Grom races, and so maybe we can do some of that. I don't know. We're gonna try some new stuff and kind of explore the world of motorcycles a little bit more. So I hope you guys stick with me, and I hope you guys keep enjoying everything on the channel, all the content. So as usual, have fun, ride safe. Please try not to f it up.